6 months after Pearl Harbor, Japan stands at the height of its power. Its carrier fleet has struck across the Pacific, from Hawaii to Ceylon, defeating every opponent it has faced. And now, the Imperial Navy turns east once again. Its objective is a small atoll, barely visible on most maps, Midway Island. From here, Japan intends to draw out what remains of the U.S. Pacific Fleet and destroy it. The plan is vast and complex, multiple task forces, distant diversions, and an invasion force following close behind the Kido Butai. What the Japanese do not know is that the plan has already been uncovered. American codebreakers have broken the Japanese naval code, and rather than retreat, Admiral Nimitz has prepared an ambush. 3 American carriers, 1 hastily repaired, all under strength and outnumbered, move into position north of Midway. What follows will decide the balance of power in the Pacific. Hello and welcome once again to Task Force Admiral. It is June 4th, 1942. We are aboard USS Yorktown once again in Task Force 17. This time, however, without the Lexington. However, we do have Task Force 16 with us, with Enterprise in Yorktown. We'll go to the map real quick and I will explain the situation. Here we are. Here's Midway Island, and here's Eastern Island in the airfield right here. And again, early morning, 3 a.m., and here is Task Force 17 with USS Yorktown and a few cruisers and destroyers supporting it. Here is Task Force 16 with Enterprise and Hornet, with many more cruisers and destroyers supporting it. We are headed towards the rendezvous here, and it says we're supposed to be there around 8 and 10 a.m., but that's not the way it's going to happen here. We're going to make a few changes. First, for both task forces, we're going to increase speed to max. We're going to increase it to 31 knots. I believe that is, 31 knots. There we go. We're going to do this for both task forces because I want to get to the rendezvous point as quickly as possible. The reason being is that the PBYs from Midway will likely, almost certainly, spot the enemy task forces, and I do not intend to launch search aircraft from Task Force 17 or 16. I believe the PBYs will find the enemy task force. And again, we're going to race as quick as we can towards the June 4th rendezvous. I already did a measuring of this. I'll show you what I did here. Let's put say we managed to get to the rendezvous and the Japanese carriers are somewhere right about here, right about, say, Midway or right in the center of this circle somewhere. That's about 156 nautical miles away, and that is basically that's about the max distance of our devastators. And again, we are pushing towards the rendezvous to this point right here, so I can launch at least the devastators from Yorktown against the Japanese task force. And we're going to launch them early as soon as they're spotted. Task Force 16 probably won't be able to use their devastators, but we will get to that when the time comes. For now, we are going to push as hard and fast as possible to the rendezvous point. All right, as you saw, the PBYs have taken off from Midway. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess there are 6 of them. Not sure exactly how many. Yeah, it looks like 6. And let's look at their track. Here we go. This is what they're searching. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 6 of them. And hopefully this distance is far enough. It should be. Let's start. I think we're going to start preparing our strikes. Let's get the strike for the Yorktown ready to go. We're going to take, I estimate, let's say, we're going to take just 5 escorts. We're going to use the bulk of our fighters for scrambles, and we'll talk about that later when it occurs. Let's send 17 Dauntless. Let's send 20 Dauntless. And all the torpedo bombers. So we got, with Yorktown Strike, 5 Wildcats, 20 Dauntless, 12 torpedo bombers. We're going to, since we're not having to send search planes or everything, we're going to early spot these so we can get them ready to go. We're going to have them on the deck and ready to go by the time that they reach over here, which should be about 5:30. We'll see. Normal, yeah, we'll do normal departure. I want them to stream in to the enemy task force instead of all arriving in one group. There's a reason for that. Offensive power, we're going to do that now. There was an update made recently where they changed the loadouts for the SBDs. Offensive power used to be that they would carry 1,000-pound centerline bomb and then 2, I believe, 100-pound bombs on the wings. They no longer do that. They just have the centerline 1,000-pounder, no bomb wingtip bombs, which is more realistic, which is kind of what the SBDs were using at the beginning of the war, just that one centerline bomb. The reason for it is they were a bit underpowered, those aircraft, so they, and with large strikes, when the flight deck was populated and had lots of aircraft up there, and they had a short takeoff distance, they were afraid that those aircraft might hit the water taking off. So yeah, it's just one centerline bomb. So we're doing, again, early spotting, normal departure, offensive firepower. We're not going to select a target yet. We'll do that when we find the Japanese task force. We'll green light that one. So they'll start getting this ready probably in the morning. Let's take a look. Nav strike. They are going to start spotting it, I guess. All right, let's get the other 2 strikes ready to go. Enterprise. Now, again, I believe the torpedo bombers, the TBDs, will be out of range by the time I want to launch, which is, again, we're going to launch immediately as soon as we find the Japanese carrier force. And at that time, I believe Task Force 16 won't quite be in range. So, we're going to send 5 Wildcats to escort, and we're going to send all the Dauntless, every Dauntless on here. So 31, 36 aircraft. Again, early spotting, normal departure, offensive power. New strike, Hornet, and pretty much the same thing, 5 Wildcats, and all of the dive bombers. Early spotting, normal departure, offensive firepower. Let's greenlight that one. And now let's take a look at the missions. Here is Yorktown. Nav strike preparing 37 aircraft. Enterprise, Nav strike 1 preparing 38 aircraft. And Hornet 39 aircraft. All right, all three strikes are ready to go. It is 4:42 a.m. I'll show you the decks. Here is the Hornet. She's got all of her SBDs up and some Wildcats. Enterprise, same, and Yorktown, and it's got the TBDs in front, ready to go, ready to take off. And let's see. Well, we don't have a takeoff. We don't have a time for takeoff yet. Again, because we don't have a target. We will have a target as soon as we find the Japanese fleet. Let's take a look at the search aircraft and see where they are. They're right about here. So they're about halfway through their search. And we should be finding them pretty soon. I don't think we're going to be able to take off the strike right away. Again, we need to get probably close to the waypoint before the Devastators can lift off. And hopefully the Japanese task force isn't way down here. If it is, that's going to delay our strike. I'm hoping they're up here to the northeast, or at least, on east of this. On the eastern part of this search area. That would be wonderful. So right now we're just waiting at this point to make contact with the Japanese task force. Okay, 5 after 5 in the morning, and our scouts report a new unidentified surface force bearing 330, range 222 miles. Let's go to the map, and I'm sure this is the enemy task force. We're not quite at our rendezvous point yet. Yep, there they are. Let's take a look at our search aircraft. It looks like this one here spotted it. Let's take a look. So they're right in this area. See if we can see it on the tactical there. They are right there. So far, we're just seeing, it looks like a battleship. I'm not sure. Light cruisers. That is definitely a battleship. Looks like a Congo. Maybe. And what do we have over here? That is a carrier. Looks like we found their carrier task force. Yep, there's another one right over here. And there should be two more in the back. There's the other one, and then there's another one right here. We found the carrier task force, all 4 carriers. Not quite showing up for the scout yet. All 4 carriers. There's another one. Large unidentified warship. All right, we'll wait until we got a positive ID. Right now, the scout is still trying to verify everything. So far, it found 6 small ships, 1 medium, 5 large ships. I'm sure it'll let us know real soon that those are the carriers. And we're still a little far away from the rendezvous. We're going to launch at the rendezvous. All right, now it's saying 1 battleship. Yep, 6 large ships, 7 small. Let's see how far away they are presently. 165 nautical miles. We still need to close about 15 miles or so. We are closing. So we won't be able to launch right away, but pretty soon, probably, let's see, this says we'll reach the rendezvous at 5:36, so probably half an hour, something like that. 5:43 now, and I believe we've picked them up again. They've moved a little bit farther to the southeast. I just want to verify that this is them before I launch. Let's just make sure. There they are. This is definitely the carrier task force. How far away are we now? About 149, it looks like. 149 nautical miles. Let's go ahead and slow down Task Force 17. We're going to slow them down to 15 knots, and then as soon as they get close, we're going to make our turn and start launching aircraft. We'll be turning to the southeast here pretty soon. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for Task Force 16. All right, about 17 knots now, so let's go to the missions. This is Yorktown, edit mission, and it looks like we're good. Let's give it a target. It's contact 16. And yep, it looks like we're just inside the range for the Devastators. So let's go ahead and tell them to take off. Enterprise Nav Strike 1, edit mission, and give them, let's see, what was it? It was contact 16. As you can see, the range of the Dauntless is so much more than the Devastators. Let's go ahead and have them take off as well. And let's go to Hornet, contact 16, take off. All right, all three strikes are being launched from the U.S. aircraft carriers. Meanwhile, it looks like they're blowing through the Buffaloes over here. We're going to take a look at this and see what's happening. here is the Japanese strike force on their way back to their carriers, and their carriers are located right here as of 19 minutes ago. Again, we launched probably about 19 minutes ago based on that information at the extreme range of the Devastators from Yorktown. Speaking of, here is our strike force on their way, both of them. Well, actually all three, because we have 3 carriers. So 3 strike forces on the way. This is the course of Task Force 17 after launch. We're headed to the southeast. Task Force 16 headed to the southwest. We are going to try and rendezvous down at this position. Why? I would like to join the fleets together, but I can't. I don't believe the game will allow that, but I am going to get them within 5 to 7 nautical miles between each other distance so that they can share one cap umbrella. And I do have a very, very large cap umbrella that I'm going to be putting up. All right, from Yorktown VF3, I have 20 Wildcats available. Enterprise VF6, I have 20 available. And Hornet is VF8, I have 22. I'm going to have 62 Wildcats on scramble when the Japanese strike force comes in. And that should be something to see. Now, hopefully, maybe they won't find us. That's why I'm trying to go south. I mean, it's possible that they may miss us. So we're going to head south. And again, rendezvous down here. Maybe they'll miss us, but if they don't, we will have a really good large Wildcat cap above us. Speaking of which, what we need to do next for all carriers is get all of the Wildcats, all of the fighters to the flight deck immediately. And as soon as we see, as soon as we notice their search aircraft, if we detect search aircraft, we'll launch our cap immediately, because then we'll probably expect a strike within the hour, and the cap can stay up about 2 hours. So that's our plan for now. All right, well, just right after I mentioned that, here is the first Japanese scout. I'm sure of it. It's not one of ours. Just popped up. I don't know how far away, but I'm pretty sure if they're within 25 nautical miles. Oh yeah, they've spotted our task force, I'm sure. So next step is to launch as soon as the Wildcats are up. We're going to scramble all of them. And hopefully we can get, it says here, we should rendezvous. I moved this up so that we can rendezvous little after 7 a.m., about a half an hour. That should be good. I don't think they're going to be able to get their strike over to us before then. So I think we're going to be good. All right, all aircraft are up on the deck. Let's get them up in the air. Let's scramble everything from Yorktown. And Enterprise, same. And Hornet, let's get them all up in the air. All right, just about 6:50 a.m. now, and the fighters, I believe, are almost done launching. Let's take a look. This is Yorktown. And, okay, it looks like they're just finishing up. Let's check Enterprise. He has a few more left, and Hornet, a few more as well. Good. And so, after they're done launching... So what they were breaking in about is this massive aircraft coming here. I believe they have, let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Is that all you brought? Is just 50? Okay. So they're headed towards, look, they're headed towards our June 4th rendezvous point, it looks like. So what we're doing, I was checking the course just to make sure that they're back on course good. Rendezvous at 7:25. They will be, well, they're not back on course yet. They will be here shortly. Going to, again, try to rendezvous as quickly as possible. Then, let's see. Let's check. I'm going to pause this because time is of the essence now. Let's check our strikes. All right, Nav Strike 1 is closing in. It looks like they're right about in this area. So they're getting close. Nav Strike 1 from Task Force 16 is a little bit further behind. Nav Strike 2 is right in the same area. Here we go. They're getting closer. All right, so what we're going to do here shortly, once we get our cap all the way up and at altitude, we're going to kill this snooper. And then we're going to turn off the fighter director, because the fighter director is going to start pushing our aircraft to go after this group of aircraft here, and I don't want them to do that yet. So we're going to end the episode here, and when we come back, we're going to, again, manage our combat air patrol. I'm going to keep them in close until they get a little bit closer, and then I'm going to send them out and then keep them busy while our task forces both press south. And then, of course, we're going to see our strike on the Kidu Butai when we come back. So, see you on the next episode.